Hello, my friends. I feel like I've been forever since I recorded a video because it's been 2 weeks and I didn't record one last weekend because I had a lot going on, and this weekend I had a lot going on and I was like, oh no, don't tell me I've already given up on this. I have not given up on this. I'm still enjoying actually the practice of getting in front of the camera and talking about I don't know what. And I think one of the challenges I was having this week was I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to talk about. And that makes it a little bit challenging to sit down and hit record. But here I am. So one of the things that I know I would like to talk a little bit about is really just the concept of presence and what I'm doing with these videos as it's starting to become more clear to me what I'm trying to maybe develop here is my own skill in being present while I'm recording a video, which is challenging because there's a lot of parts that come up. There's a lot of thinking about what I'm saying or what I might want to say or what I want to put out in the world, and worrying about how that comes out. And so part of what I've really been thinking about that this whole thing is about for me personally is finding a way to give voice to the things that come up for me or the things that I think about that I don't yet know how to speak about. And what I feel like I'm trying to do is link my speaking voice with that internal dialogue and that internal system that exists in me that knows things, that understands things, and figure out how to give word to those things. So that's what I'm doing here. At least I've come to realize that for now is what I'm doing here, in part because I still don't have any other real intention. And so here we are, I'm talking about presence. And what I'd like to say there is that to me, presence, and some of this is based on, coming from the philosophies that I've studied, the practices that I've studied, and the understanding that we have sort of a psychological self that's our surface self, that's the identities we put out into the world, the way that we would describe ourselves if we were asked to say, who are you? Like that's the level of parts. And then we have this whole other level that I think me and a lot of other people I know are working on tapping into, developing, noticing, finding the wisdom in, and that's this level of process first, which is the diving into like what's the felt experience of being here now, which has been about a 10-year journey for me in coming into relationship with that aspect of myself, that process aspect of like what's the sense in my body as I'm experiencing this, this moment. To pay attention to that in the moment is really a practice, and it's not something that we get a lot of training on in our culture. And so that's something that I went and looked for. I didn't know what I was looking for at the time that I started looking for it, but through a lot of journey and learning and meeting different people and taking different types of courses, I've come to some of these realizations. And one of them is this idea of process in the body, the connection to that experience of the world through not necessarily the five senses, but this body sense. And that's a never-ending journey, because it's always changing, because everything that happens in our bodies is a reflection of what we're experiencing, and maybe vice versa. And yeah, so that's a big one. And what that leads into, as you feel into process, as you connect into the body, is then what I would have been taught, or would term, presence, meaning the being here in the moment of the self. But it's more than just that part self that I described originally, more than the identity self. It's this deeper, more present, more able to connect to your own resource and capabilities kind of self, that at least in one of the systems that I've spent a lot of time working in would be termed presence. And the term presence and the being of presence, it's not a being, it's not a doing, it is just the experience of. It's very hard to describe, and that's one of the reasons I'm talking about it, is because I want to find my words for this not experience, but this availability of capacity. And what I mean by that is just the ability to respond in the moment in a mindful, attentive, conscious way, instead of in a reactive, ego, personality-driven way, which is how most of the time we're functioning, because it's a nice shortcut for our brain to be able to just access, yeah, this is what I did before, this is what I'm going to do now in response to this similar situation. Like, we're on autopilot if we don't stop and pay attention to what's going on and how we're responding. And so that being presence in response, or in a situation, in the world, is just a really different way of being. I hope that makes sense. Like I said, it's a practice. So what I'm practicing doing right now is basically feeling into my body, noticing that I'm here, letting the words just come out, as clunky and as messy as they are, just talking and sharing what's here now. So yeah, that's what I have to say about that topic. It's definitely, finding words to describe my worldview is a work in progress, for sure. And it's an important one for me for some reason right now. So I feel like this exercise, this practice of just putting words to what is it that I'm experiencing and how do I see the world, is partly so that I can find those words in myself. So it's, this is part of my practice. This is my practice right now. This is one of my big practices, is just talking and sharing these thoughts with the world. So to anyone who's listening, my dear sweet friends, thank you for supporting me in continuing to figure out what this voice of mine is meant to do in the world. Love you all. Bye.